Next, we go to everyone's favourite team to laugh at, Arsenal. They're in 11th. Azad, we're going to go to you as you're the Arsenal fan.
Yeah. Again, up and down, very slow. When we lose, we just don't turn up. So Villa, Leicester, Liverpool too good for us really. But I'm not convinced with Arsenal this season so far. Aubameyang's only scored one from open play, and that was against Fulham in the first game of the season. They did, however, have a very, very impressive victory against United a couple of Sundays ago. First victory in 14 years. So, but yeah, very happy with that, really. So I've not seen Arsenal win at Old Trafford in the league for that long. So, but I've given Arsenal a D, and that is because they're not convincing. You don't know what Arsenal's going to turn up on the day. They can come and rock you over, but against Villa turned up big time, and they fully deserve that 3 points.
Kels?
I have to agree with him and give Arsenal a D. So, beginning of the season when they got Willian, I was so excited because, judging from Willian's history, he's a rugged player. He's going to put in the work in the midfield. With Alba up front, I was expecting some real connection. We saw a spark of that in the first game, and then Gabriel coming into the defense as well. So I was really hoping Arsenal could do something wonderful this season. The way they started the season, I was like, if everyone is having a slow start, Liverpool's having a slow start, Man City having a slow start, could this be the year that Arsenal wins the league? But now, look at where we are. They're still down almost at the bottom of the barrel. So I have to give them a D because they really should be doing better. With the amount of players they brought in that actually showed signs, and the manager as well is tactically sound. So I'm not sure why the players just don't turn up sometimes. Maybe they need a better, striker than Laka. But I'd give them a D.
That's fair enough. Sure. I think I'll give Arsenal a D as well. To be fair, I mean they got that result against Fulham. And all Arsenal fans got a bit hyped, but let's be honest, they're Fulham. They're probably going to finish bottom of the league. They're not a great side. And the United performance, I think people are going on about it like, oh, yeah, it's fantastic. They got a result. But that's what they got. They got a result. They weren't particularly impressive. They got a penalty goal, so another goal from a set piece. And they're not creating chances from open play, which should be worrying Arsenal fans. They are lacking a creative midfielder. If only they had one in their squad, which they didn't sign on. But so we're going to move on. We're going to go to West Ham. West Ham are in 12th place at the moment. I think this is an interesting one to discuss. So we're going to go to you, Kels, first. What do you think for West Ham United?
Regardless of their position right now, I'd have to give them a B because of the fighting spirit. Because these guys, they don't give up. They're behind. They're trying to equalize. They're trying to win the game. So I have to give them a B because actually their performances on the up. Right now, they might be where they are in the league, but they're actually their performances is improving, and Antonio is one hell of a player, and so I see them probably finishing maybe top half of the table as well. Probably 10th position by the end of the season, the worst. So, if they keep fighting, I think they'll really do well.
Azad, what do you reckon?
Well, I've given them a C purely because they're 12th, but they've had fantastic results. Even their defeats have been good. So they have convincing win against Wolves, convincing win against Leicester, who are top now. They came back from 3-0 down against Spurs, 1-1 against Man City, only lost 2-1 to Liverpool, and then beat West Ham. However...
What? West Ham beat West Ham?
No, sorry, West Ham beat Fulham.
You've done it again.
I'm so focused.
Sorry, carry on, sorry.
Yeah, but like Cal said, Mikel Antonio, yes, he's the marksman. He is the go-to for West Ham. He's out injured now. Hopefully, Jared Bowen will step in. He's a fantastic player. I'm not sure if you agree, Cals, but Jared Bowen, he's really impressed this season. I had my eye on him last season against when he played against Arsenal last season, and he was great. But I think he'll come through this season. But West Ham, I agree, top top half finish, but I've given them a C so far.
Yeah, I think you've named quite a lot of the teams that finished in the top 7 last year. And simply because of that, I think they've got to get a B, right? Like, they lost to Arsenal 2-1. And I think we wouldn't be unfair to say that they were the better team. A lot of people thought Moyes would be sacked by the end of this run of fixtures, but he's actually put points on the board, which is impressive. I think it's very, very impressive. I think they've got a bright future for this season if they play the way they played. Against Fulham, you know, they showed a lot of characters. The first time that they had to be the team in the offensive, considering all the fixtures that they had, and they got the 3 points. That's all you can really do at the end of the day. So, yeah, I think West Ham, I agree with you there, Kels. I'm going to give them a B. Sorry, Azad, we're not going to listen to you on this one. With that run of fixtures, City, Liverpool, Wolves, Leicester, you know, they've got rid of some tough fixtures. They've got some easier fixtures coming up. So that's West Ham for you. Newcastle United, they're in 13th, 3 wins, 2 draws, 3 defeats. What do you boys think? Azad, I'll go to you first.
So I've given them a D so far. The reason being that they've had good results so far. Although yes, they capitulated against United late on, but I think Callum Wilson's a great signing for them, especially if they got Andy Carroll coming off the bench. I thought he retired and he came on as a sub at the weekend. But I mean, Steve Bruce, when Newcastle turn up, they have a really good result. But when they don't, they capitulate, just like they did against United. I think bottom half finish, I've given them a D for the performance so far.
Interesting. Kels?
For their performance so far, I'd give them a C. So the result just sounds like an average team, right? But then, like, actually looking in depth into the team, like, they might struggle against the top 4 or top 5, but with the other teams downwards, they would really, I think they will get the results, because now they have Wilson and they managed to steal Fraser as well. So with this duo, it's going to, like, they will get results eventually. So I think for the top 4 teams, there might be a struggle, but for the other lower ranked teams, they will really bring in the work. So I think right now they're just average. So they will get a C from me.
Yeah, this is a difficult one. Like, they picked up a few results, which they were a bit fortunate in the draw against Spurs, fortunate to get a point. But they're 13th, and for what they've invested, 13th is not the end of the world. I think if you asked a Newcastle fan, you know, realistically, where would they want to finish? They would say anywhere in the top 15 would be good. And for that reason, I'd say they're a C. I think Callum Wilson is obviously a fantastic buy and a steal for that price. But yeah, they've had quite a few injuries as well at the back. So considering all of those things, a C would probably be fair. Then it's my team, Manchester United, languishing in 14th. Who wants to go? Who wants? One of you guys.
I'll let you.
Yeah, I don't mind going first. I've given United a D. It could have been lower, but I've given them a D purely because their forward line is fantastic. Martial, Rashford, Cavani, Greenwood, and they're going to do some damage once they get clicked together. They will. You say Ollie's at the wheel, but you know, I think they got a bright future ahead of them. I really do hope Man United do really well in the next few seasons. I do feel sorry for their fans, but let's just go back to Tottenham game. That was really poor, really poor performance from them. And against Brighton, they only just about won 3-2. Crystal Palace lost 3-1 at home, and that's why I've given them a D. So, however, I have to point out their performance against Newcastle was fantastic. Those assists from Marcus Rashford, to Bruno Fernandes, great, absolutely great. And that's what I mean. Once they click together, they demolish any team in front of them. They'll do 6-1 at Tottenham if they click together. I promise you. So, but I've given them a D, and the potential could be a B, and I reckon they're finishing the Champions League this season.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Kels, what do you reckon?
I mean, last season it didn't seem like United would finish at the top 4 or anything like that until like the last minute, right? So I think they're having that kind of season again. Like you said, they have the players that can deliver the goods. They have like Bruno Fernandes, fantastic player. He just needs to turn up every game. Martial is hungry. I just hope he would be more clinical with his finishes. Rashford, excellent players. Greenwood, I love Greenwood. When he gets the chance to play, you can see he's hungry. He wants to play. And then they added Cavani, and I think, yeah, if he's given the chance, I'm not sure why he's not starting yet, why he's being used as a super sub. But like I'd like to actually see Cavani like start a few games and then see how, the players can play well together. But in terms of the rating, I think I'd have to give United a C. Right now, they just average, but I can see the potential. Like they could easily turn to a B if they start taking their chances and not waiting for penalties all the time because there's only so many that you would get in a season. So yeah, I think a C is fair for United. Like they should be doing better for sure.
I think considering the games that we've had, there's been some easy fixtures. I'm going to agree with Azad. I don't enjoy saying that, but I'm going to agree with him and say United probably deserve a D here. Some fortunate results, some unfortunate situations. So shall we say, like the red card against Spurs, but the performance against Crystal Palace was the one for me, which it was just really poor. I think you mentioned Greenwood there, and that's an interesting one. I'd like to bring that up later on in the discussion when we talk about mental health. But yeah, I think 14th, you've got to do better. You're Manchester United, and the home performances have not been good enough. But, I guess that's life sometimes.
But there's also a game in hand, right? So
they have a game in hand.
The 3 points will make a difference.
They could go all the way up to 7th, I guess, with that victory, with a victory. But that's if it comes, Sometimes they can't defeat that low block. And they've made signings, and it hasn't quite clicked. And they've not got rid of a lot of players that they should have got rid of. But we'll see what happens with United. At the moment, I'm going to stick with Azad's D, and I'm going to be harsh. But I'm actually an Ole at the wheel. I don't want to get rid of him yet. I think he'll do good things at the club. A lot of people mentioned Pochettino, but he's got rid of a lot of dead wood. He's got rid of a lot of players that he doesn't want to play. You've now got to give him the chance and back him in the transfer market. They never signed Sancho, the player that he wanted. Let's see what happens. We've got to give him another 2 transfer windows from my perspective. But if they qualify in the Champions League, he's got to stay. And that's Man United. So Leeds United, they're 15th. They're the highest of all the teams that have been promoted. What are we going to give them? Kels, we'll go to you first.
I mean, so Leeds, they're kind of in an unfortunate position because, like, they started conceding too many goals at the beginning of the season. Like, right now, conceded games are improving. They've started to block that defense leak, and like now they're trying to go for it. Bamford, excellent players. Like I don't expect them to do well against the top 4 teams, but he keeps delivering the goods. He keeps getting the goals. I mean, because they just got promoted, and like the Premier League is new to a lot of these players, and for them to be where they are, I think I'll give them a B. If they started off with like a good defense, then they would probably in a position where they're saying they're an A team at the moment. But right now, I'd give them a B because I expect them to finish top half of the table. To be fair, like if they can plug the defense and like use their attacking force, and that's if Bamford like don't end up like Pookie of last season. So, because then they might get relegated if Bamford's performance just turns around to be Pookie. But yeah, it should really be like a top up finish for them. So I'd give them a B for now.
Fair enough. Azad?
Yeah, I'm going to start with I've given them a D. When Leeds United got promoted, I was really excited. A lot of Leeds fans I know, and they've had hurt for the last 15 years. Started off the season great, but then that draw against Man City, I thought, wow, Leeds are the real deal here. But then they went and lost 1-0 to Wolves. They beat Villa 3-0, which is great results, and lost 4-1 to Leicester, a very good Leicester team. That's why I have given them a D. They've conceded a lot of goals, but they're exciting as well going forward. They literally take the game to the opposition. And like you said, Cows, Patrick Bamford, wow. I was thinking, is he still a professional? He is, and he scored 6-7 goals already in the Premier League. But yeah, very well done, Leeds. I'm giving him a D. And high hopes for him. Top half finish, I think.
Ooh, I think that's very, very harsh to give a team that's 15th, I've just got promoted, like a D. I mean, I think you're judging them based on a team of Leeds that was from 2000 and not from 2020. You can't. That's overly critical. I think a B/C. I think just because of how they started, you expected them just to do a little bit better. But you mentioned a few results there. The 1-0 against Wolves was a freak kind of own goal-ish kind of way. They didn't get Ben White, the centre-back that they really wanted. And we all knew how he fitted into their system and the way that they played. And they've adjusted to that. And, you know, the last couple of weeks, their marquee signing, he's had to self-isolate. So Rodrigo's not been playing. You know, they've lacked a little bit more firepower there, and that's from that position. So, you know, they got 10 points. They're doing all right. If they keep this up, you know, they're probably going to get 40, 45 points, which is going to be enough for survival. And at the end of the day, if you're getting promoted, that's what you probably really are aiming for. So, Kels, you said B. Azad, you said D. Well, we'll be nice. We'll go in the middle. We'll say C. Okay?
Yeah. Well,
They-
the thing
Yeah,
is, they've
that's
conceded
fair.
11 goals. Sorry, Cows. Go on, you go.
No,
Yeah.
no,
They've
go on.
conceded
The answer, that
17.
was
They've
fair.
conceded 17, but they have
17
scored
yeah.
14.
Yeah, they conceded 17 goals. What the 11 goals in the defeats I've counted. Yes, they're doing better than other promoted teams, but they need to stop that leak
But they've scored
if they're going
14
to go on.
goals.
It's
And
good. It's because they're taking the
if you
And
think about it, in
that's not
seasons
easy,
past,
yeah.
we always say about relegated teams, where are the goals going to come from? They always say, where are the goals going to come from? And in this Leeds team, the goals are coming. So the backline they could probably fix. They've signed quite a few players. They got rid of Barry Douglas. He went out on loan. Obviously, they brought in, I think it was Robin Koch. They couldn't get Ben White. So they've had to change their personnel around, and they've stepped up a league. So it wasn't ever going to be easy, but I think a C is fair, considering their goal difference is still only -3, even if they conceded 17. So it's not the end of the world.
I just can't give high grades out just because they're doing really well compared to the other promoted teams. So I've had to go on a hunch and say D. The reason being is because they've been found out by oppositions now. They've literally high line, boom, ball from the back over the top. Jamie Vardy's in. That's why. So they've been found out. They need a plan B. I hope they do get a plan B.
Not every team is going to have a Jamie Vardy, and that's a Leicester team that's been playing together for about 2 years, and they haven't really made many changes. Leeds have made some changes. They've got promoted, and considering, I think if you look at their expectation, when you get promoted, 17th is the goal. 17th means you're not getting relegated. That's another season, and they're in 15th position.
Yeah, no, fair enough. 4-1 against Leicester, 4-1 against Palace. Same kind of goals conceded.
Well, there was a freak own goal for the Crystal Palace goal that crept in the near post.
Then there was a free kick.
There was a turning point with the goal, which was apparently disallowed because his arm is in an offside position. Like, there were clear decisions that might have gone against them that changed the way that game happened. So I'm gonna stick with that C, and maybe I'm not going to give them a B. I'm not going to. They have conceded a lot of goals. So for that, Azad, I'm going to keep you happy. We're going to say C for Leeds then.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Oh, the team that I hate the most. 16th, Brighton and Hove Albion. What grades are you going to give them? I'm going to go to you first, Azad.
Oh, well, I've gone for E. They've got Danny Welbeck now, but I don't think he's good enough for the Premier League anymore. I love him, though. I love him. He played for Arsenal. I do love him, but he's not good enough. The only player that stands out is Sonny March. But other than that, it's a bit of relegation dogfight for him, I think. They're not good, I don't think. They're not bringing anything to the Premier League, really. Looking at the results, just not good enough. Like, against Burnley on Friday night, just wasted, really. Just yeah, I wouldn't watch Brighton. I would just literally wouldn't waste 90 minutes to watch Brighton, even against Arsenal. I'll probably just go have a day out. But yeah, I've given them an E. Just
Okay, fair enough. Kels?
Well, I'd give them the E they deserve because that's the level they're playing at the moment. I mean, the only player that stands out for me really, because like it seems that this low. To be fair, I don't really follow them that closely. Probably just track a few players for my fantasy league. I think Moppe, probably the only player that stands out for me. But as a team, they probably need to do better if they're to survive this season. Yeah, they deserve the E. That's what they'll get from me.
Can I just say 1 point on Tariq Lamptey? Oh my God. The games I did watch, he's fun to watch. And if Arsenal could sign him, replace Hector Bellerin, that's fantastic. They've got a gem in him.
Yeah, so I've actually watched quite a few Brighton games. I don't know, I just don't like Brighton. I feel like they're a soulless team, but their performances, okay, that's harsh, but it's what I think But if you actually watch them play, their performances have been great, but the results have been poor. And the thing I mentioned about Leeds is going to come back to Brighton. If you don't score goals, you're going to struggle. And for the number of chances they've created, I just don't understand why they don't finish them. They've created so many chances. It's actually now becoming ridiculous. And I agree with the E because, you need to get points on the board. When you play that well and you don't get points, you're going to pay for that. Against United, when we won 3-2, we were very fortunate, but we got the result. And that's happened to them quite a few times now this season. I think they recorded something like a league high of 18 shots without scoring. And that's just ridiculous. So I'm going to agree with you, boys. We're going to give Brighton an E. Fulham, they're 17th, 4 points from 8 games. Whew, where are we going to go with this one? We'll go to you, Kels.
I mean, what's the list point with list grading we can assign? Well, they have to get an F. If F was on the board, but since we stopping at E, I think they have to get the E because I expected a lot from Mitrovic. I thought, highest goal scorer in the championship, it would come, get the goals in. And then I did watch a few of their games because obviously I had him on my team, for the first few weeks. I was hoping it'd give me some, cheeky goals here and there, but it failed to deliver. Watching them is kind of uninspiring. And I really don't see how they would survive this season. But I mean, I may be wrong. If they decide to start turning up, probably tighten up their defense, and then the strikers are taking their chances, because I think they miss way too many chances as well. If they want to survive in this league, they have to really take their chances, especially against teams in their caliber, because it might be fair. No, I mean, it might be a bit harsh to judge them against the top teams for a team that's just been promoted. But I think right now, with the way they're playing, with the results they've got so far, yeah, it's definitely an E from me.
How's that?
Yeah, I've actually changed it to an F from an E. I just had a rethink, and Fulham. I agree with Cows really. So just they got nothing to him really. So I just want to take you back to Saturday. 1-0 down against West Ham. Injury time penalty. Ademola Lookman, he's on loan from Everton. They should be smashing that one in. And stuff like that is going to get him relegated. So there's nothing to Fulham. When I watched Fulham against Arsenal at the first game of the season where they lost, they had, I believe, Michael Hector started at the back. He's only played 2 games since. He's not good enough for the Premier League. So yeah, I was quite worried that if he's the main centre back, he's going to do Fulham are in trouble. Fulham are in trouble anyway. But I've given them an F because they've got nothing to them. They are struggling, and the Premier League is just way. The league itself is way too good for Fulham. So I've given them an F.
So at the start of the season, I actually predicted Fulham to finish bottom, and I think the E's and F's, they sound harsh. I would have personally given them to be fair, I'll probably give them an E. I'm talking this, but I'm going to give them an E because, 4 points from 8 games. They've had some good fixtures. They've had some bad fixtures. They got 3 points against West Brom, which is the reason why an E is fair, because that's their relegation rivals. And they picked up the points. And, even because of that, they might have got a D, because at the end of the day, if you want to survive, you've got to beat the teams around you. And that, I said it before, that's a 6-point relegation battle all day long. And Fulham came up top. Against West Ham, I know they lost 1-0. They had the Lookman chance at the end with the penalty. But the goal, it shouldn't have stood. Or by the new rules, it should. But Ale's interfering with play. That's horrible. What's the centre-back supposed to do? Do nothing? So I think it was really difficult. They actually defended really well that game. Yes, West Ham had a couple of chances, but they defended like men. And I think going forward, there's this thing about Scott Parker. I think he's got the work ethic. He just needs to get that belief back in the players. It was a hammer blow not getting a point. But I think Leeds will actually stay up. So out of the other 2 teams, Fulham are probably the one that might escape it. And you mentioned Mitrovic. Mitrovic is always going to be a bully. It doesn't matter what team you play. You can be the best team in the land or the worst team in the land. With Mitrovic, he's going to bully centre-backs and chances are going to happen. Whether they score them or not, that's another story. But we're going to stick with an E, but they were almost a D just because they beat a relegation rival, and that's what you need to do to stay in this division. So after Fulham, we go to West Brom. They're 18th, 3 points, 3 draws, no wins, 5 defeats. What are we going to say about them?
Well, they have to get the F, man. I'm sorry. It's a failing team, and I don't see a way out for them. I think this time around, they're definitely getting relegated with these results, because even though Sheffield is bottom of the league, I still think Sheffield have a better chance of getting out of the bottom and surviving than West Brom. So I think we're going to have to say goodbye to West Brom this season if this performance is going this way. So yeah, I think, they're going back to the championship, which is probably where they should be playing. Join the likes of Birmingham City or whatever the name of the team is. So yeah, I think definitely F with the results that they've managed to to record till date.
Azad, what about you?
I've gone with an F so far because of the performance. However, I could see some light at the end of the tunnel. So the manager is a defender. So you can tell from looking at their recent results, the results since the start of the season. They conceded 3 against Leicester, 5 against Everton, 5 against Everton, 3 against Chelsea, but they drew that game. So they conceded a lot of goals. However, since then, they've conceded 3 goals. So, and the results they're kind of improving. Yes, they only lost 1-0 to Spurs, Harry Kane. So 88th minute, I think. So they are improving. So I'm not gonna say relegation for them. I think it's going to go down to the wire for them. But I have given them an F so far. But I think they've made some improvements in the last 3 games, but not too much. But I've stuck with an F right at the bottom. Hopefully they will improve. The yo-yo team, aren't they? They're going to go back down and up and down, what they've been doing for the last 20 seasons. But you can see they're improving. They've tightened up their defence. But I don't see no player who plays for them that I recognise, think, brilliant. He's going to do really well for them. I just don't see any player there. Charlie Austin, he's injured at the moment, but I think if he gets in the team and maybe 1 or 2 headers from corners, so I think set pieces could be the way out for him. But maybe relegation, but we'll see what happens in the next few months.
I mean, they've conceded 17 goals this season already. That's tough. Even the teams below them conceded 12 and 14, 17 goals, and is it 8-game weeks or something? That's terrible. So I don't see a way of them escaping the bottom, to be honest with you.
Most goals were conceded in the first 3 games. That's it. But then the games after this, I think
that's going to end up biting you at the end of the season when it goes down to goal difference. Because the teams around them would probably give their all as well to try to win and probably get points from them or something. Like all the teams around them have to do is like probably just get like points, like not even have to win. And probably definitely that goal difference. I mean, their goal difference is not terrible. They did score more than the other two teams, but the fact that they've gone to concede as much as 17 goals in 8 games, that's a lot. And I think that at the end of the season, it'll probably come down to goal difference, and that's where they would regret.
Leeds have done the same, but Leeds have done the same, but we're blowing smoke.
But Leeds can score.
But Leeds have got 10 points.
Goals.
Yeah, Leeds have got 10 points on the board.
They've got the points and they've got the goals as well.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. Leeds can get the goals, and like I said earlier, Bamford is not scared. He's not afraid to get goals against the big teams as well, which will help them in the long run, even if it has to come down to goal difference. Because Leeds can score more goals, they'll probably be all right.
Yeah, like if you look at the goal difference, Leeds have -3, West Brom have -11. Leeds have 10 points on the board, West Brom have 3. And you mentioned that they've tightened the ship. They conceded 2 against Fulham, a team that have been struggling to score goals all season. That's one of their relegation rivals. If I could give them a grade, I'd give them a U. I would even give them a grading in that scale because they've been poor. And you mentioned Slavan Bilic, but he did poor with West Ham. He had one good season, then he had one bad season where he got fired. This season, he doesn't show me anything that's going to keep them up. And it's like you say, they've got no identity. Who's going to get the goals? Who's going to get the assists? They talked about Pereira, like, oh yeah, he's going to be this amazing player. I haven't seen anything that shows that.
Not since Chelsea. Not since the Chelsea game.
But they've got 3 draws. They're not picking up points. 3 from 8 does not look good. So for me, I'm going to stick with your Fs. If I could, I would have gone down to a U because it's just been shambolic. They've had fixtures where they should have picked up points and they haven't. And they played well against Spurs, but you lost 1-0. And at the end of the day, it's not about your performances. You need to get some points on the board as well. So a U an F for West Bromwich Albion. I'll take that back. Now this is a difficult one. Burnley, they've played 1 game less, but they are on 2 points. They are 19. What are we going to give them? We'll go to you first, Azad.
Burnley's a difficult team. You just don't know what Burnley you're going to get. I'm not surprised to see them down at the bottom because they did the same last season and they survived. But that could be down to the Europa League campaign. But it was only qualifications. They got knocked out by Olympiacos last season. But this year, slow start. I mean, I don't think they get relegated because they got some good players. Joe Rodriguez, I think he's injured at the moment, but he's played five. He's played 5 but scored none. But he's finished off last season quite well after lockdown. Yeah. But they got Ashley Barnes, who might be able to get him out, but he's not scored no goals neither. But he has just come back from injury. So they got players coming back from injury. Chris Wood again, who has only scored 1 goal, so it might just come. But so far, again, soulless. You've used that word already. They got nothing to them. They've not shown their identity. So, but I think Dochi will get them playing. I think after international break, I really hope they do. But it's not when I see Arsenal's got Burnley away. I think actually it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. Last season we drew 0-0. They're one of the teams who could just put the defences up especially against Tottenham a couple of Mondays ago. They were playing great. Well, it was 0-0 right up until Son scored. And that's it. But they couldn't get back into the game. That's why I think they need to get their strikers firing again. They've got 3 great strikers. Get them firing again. I know they'll be fine. But so far, they not performed really well so far. I'm going to give them an F. Purely because of their performance.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Kels, what are you going to give Burnley?
Well, I have to agree with the F as well. So their position on the table speaks for itself. So yeah, they need to do better. Will they survive this season? I don't know. But there's still loads of games to go, 30 games. So technically, you could wipe the slate clean and they'll still be all right. I mean, if the old Burnley either has the fighting spirit, decide to show up for the rest of the season, then they might start to get some points on the table. But for now, they deserve a big fat F.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's not a Sean Dyche team. That's what we've seen this season. No, they can't score goals either, which is difficult to see. Dwight McNeil, who I think is their most creative player, hasn't really done much, and it's just there's just been no goals, no entertainment. The fights not being there like they normally used to do. So yeah, that sounds about right. And then Sheffield United, what are we going to give them?
I mean,
Second season syndrome, isn't it?
I mean, I actually like Sheffield United. I thought they were great last season, but this season I'm not sure what's going on. 1 point, is it, in 8 games, or is it 7 games? I think
1 in 8.
1 point in 8 games. That's terrible. Yeah, big F, but I still think they will survive. Yeah, they will survive, like going forward. But I'm not sure what it is, but they have the. You look at them like they're like a composed team, like they can get results if they decide to put in the work and if they can get the goals. But right now they're struggling. They need to figure something out real quick. But I still think they will survive based on their performance last season. But yeah.
Azad?
Yeah, I agree with you. I've given them an F. I think they could survive, but they've not had a very good returns after lockdown. They've just gone right downhill. But if you look at their results, though, apart from Chelsea, 1 goal in it. So they're just missing goals. Dave McGoldrick, not good enough. They need. I don't know why they signed Ryan Brewster to stay in the Premier League. He's not proven in the Premier League, maybe in the Championship. But if they could get Ollie McBurney firing, he's not scored any goals this season or any assists, then I think they'd be okay. But like Cal said, they'll be okay. But if you look at their results, I think F could be harsh, but they're just not scoring goals. But I have given them an F, but it is harsh looking at the recent results.
I don't think F's harsh. I think 1 point from 8 games deserves an F. Like, that's a fail. If you were to get, 12% in an exam, you ain't getting more than an F. You'd be happy with an F. You just tell the teacher, don't show my paper, right? So they deserve that F. They are missing John Fleck, but I also think they're missing Henderson. That surety at the back. Like, if you're a defender, you got Henderson, you're like, even if I make a mistake, he might bail me out. I don't think Ramsdale's that goalkeeper. He's made 1 or 2 good saves, but he's made mistakes. He's cost them points. And yeah, I think they're going to get relegated. Second season syndrome is a bit like Reading when they were impressive that first season, then they got relegated. I think the same is going to happen to Sheffield. I see other teams are more likely to fight and pull out of it than they are. So I'm going to give them an F. So
yeah, I think they'll bring in players next transfer window, though. I mean, that's what they have to do. If they want to survive, they need to spend the money next transfer window. And then, yeah, there's still time. There's only 8 games, right? So there's still time to get enough points.
Yeah, but
it's not bad. 1 compared to 8, that's just a couple of games. And
I don't know.
Either they catch up. I think they'll survive for sure.
Interesting. Okay, so you think they're gonna survive? Azad, do you think they're gonna survive?
I think they will. It's just they need to get goals. They need to get goals.
We'll come back to this at the end of the season. I think they're going to get relegated. And since we're here, we might as well predict who we think are going to get relegated. So your bottom 3, Azad. Going to put you on the spot.
My bottom 3. I've got a bottom 5. So who's
no. I want the bottom 3. I want the bottom 3.
You want the bottom 3? I think the current bottom 3, to be fair. Well.
But you just said Sheffield are going to pull out of it.
Fulham, West Brom, potentially Sheffield United, but maybe they could get out. But Fulham, West Brom.
No. You have to pick 3. You can't. You just said they're going to get out. So who's your bottom 3? Because you just said Sheffield United will get out.
They could get out, but they need to get goals. I don't see where they're going to get goals from. You see,
so you agree with me?
Burnley firing, maybe. Right. Okay. West Brom, Fulham, and Brighton.
Okay.
Down.
Cool.
Yeah.
Charles?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Azad there. So definitely West Brom, Fulham. I mean, it's tough to choose between Brighton and Burnley. Will Burnley find a fighting spirit? I think they will. They have a good manager in Shandike, so he would probably be able to save them from relegation. So yeah, I agree with Azad. What about you? Who are you picking?
Jeez. Okay, so I'm going to go for West Brom, Sheffield United. I don't know if Burnley's time is up. Oh, it's so difficult. I like Sean Dyche as a manager, but yeah, I think it's going to be between them and Fulham, and I'm going to go for Fulham to get relegated. So Fulham, West Bromwich Albion, and Sheffield United will be my 3 to go down. But we'll come back at the end of the year and we'll see who was right and who was wrong. But I'm probably going to be right. So that's this segment done for grading the teams for what they've done so far.